Flying Fortress Origins. The development of the B-17 Flying Fortress began well before the outbreak of World War II. In the 1930s, the U. Army Air Corps sought a large, four-engine bomber capable of defending America against potential enemy fleets threatening Hawaii, Alaska, or the Panama Canal. Boeing responded with the Model 299, the first prototype, which debuted in 1935. By 1937, a limited production run had commenced, and when the United States entered the war in 1941, a small but expanding fleet of flying fortresses was ready. The name Flying Fortress was coined by a journalist who, after seeing the multiple defensive machine guns on the prototype, remarked that it resembled a fortress in the sky. Variants and production numbers. The B-17 underwent numerous design upgrades over the years. The initial Model 299 led to the B-17B, the first variant produced in significant numbers, taking flight in 1939. The B-17G became the definitive model, featuring enhanced defensive armament and more powerful engines. Over 8,600 B-17Gs were built, and total production across all variants reached approximately 12,700 aircraft. While Boeing led production efforts, Douglas Aircraft and Lockheed's subsidiary Vega also contributed significantly. Beyond its role as a bomber, the B-17 was adapted for various other uses, including the YB-40 escort bomber, the C-108 cargo plane, and the F-9 reconnaissance aircraft. Dimensions and construction. The B-17G measured 74 feet 9 inches in length, with a wingspan of 103 feet 9 inches and a height of 19 feet 1 inch. It weighed 36,000 pounds empty, with a maximum takeoff weight of 65,000 pounds. Constructed primarily from aluminum, the design balanced durability and weight efficiency. Performance. Powered by 4 Wright R1820. Cyclone 9-cylinder radial engines, each generating 200 horsepower, the B-17G had a top speed of 300 mph, though it typically cruised between 170 and 200 mph. It boasted a service ceiling of 35,000 feet and a range of approximately 2,000 miles, depending on payload and weather conditions. Armament. The B-17G carried a standard bomb load of 6,000 pounds, expandable to 8,000 pounds. In some cases, external racks allowed for payloads exceeding 17,000 pounds, though this greatly reduced range. Defensively, it was outfitted with 13 50-caliber machine guns positioned around the fuselage. Nose, chin turret, dorsal turret, waist, ball turret, and tail gunner positions. Limited ammunition meant careful targeting was crucial during missions. Crew and life aboard. A typical B-17 crew consisted of 10 men: pilot, co-pilot, bombardier, navigator, engineer, radio operator, 2 waist gunners, a ball turret gunner, and a tail gunner. The unpressurized cabin required oxygen masks at high altitudes, and electrically heated clothing protected against extreme cold. Communication was maintained via intercom systems. The Norden bomb sight accurate high-altitude bombing relied on the Norden bomb sight, an analog device allowing the bombardier to control the plane during targeting. Inputs for speed, heading, and wind conditions optimized bomb delivery. While renowned for precision, real-world combat conditions limited its effectiveness, necessitating large bomber formations. Names and Nose Art B-17 crews personalized their planes with names and artwork, often depicting humor, sentimentality, or pin-up models, adding a human touch to the harsh realities of war. Combat performance. The B-17 served in every major theater of World War II. Despite its robust design, bombing missions over Europe were perilous. Missions lacked fighter escort coverage, leaving formations vulnerable to Luftwaffe attacks. Despite severe damage, B-17s often limped home, earning a reputation for durability. However, casualty rates were high. Over 4,700 of the 12,700 B-17s built were lost. By 1943, a B-17 crew's life expectancy was just 11 missions, far short of the 25 required for a tour. Nevertheless, strategic bombing significantly weakened German industry. Post-war, B-17s continued in roles such as reconnaissance and cargo transport before being phased out by the B-29 Superfortress. Avro Lancaster origins. Across the Atlantic, the British Avro Lancaster became a cornerstone of the Royal Air Force's nighttime bombing campaign. Designed by Roy Chadwick to address issues with the Avro Manchester, the Lancaster first flew in January 1941 and entered service in 1942. Production continued until 1946, with over 7,077 aircraft built. Only 3,445 survived the war, with an average lifespan of just 21 missions. Lancaster design and performance. The Lancaster measured 69 feet 6 inches in length, had a wingspan of 102 feet, and stood 20 feet 6 inches tall. Weighing 36,900 pounds empty, it could carry nearly its own weight again in fuel and bombs. Powered by 4 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines producing 1,280 horsepower each, it had a top speed of 275 mph and a range of 2,530 miles. Fuel efficiency averaged 1 gallon per mile with a standard bomb load. Armament and bomb load. The Lancaster's bomb bay, 33 feet long, accommodated up to 14,000 pounds of bombs. It famously carried Barnes-Wallis's bouncing bombs during the Dambusters raid of 1943. Armed with 303 caliber Browning machine guns in nose, dorsal, and tail turrets, it lacked a ventral turret, unlike its American counterparts. Crew and conditions. Lancaster crews consisted of 7 young men, typically around 22 years old. Positions included pilot, engineer, navigator, wireless operator, bomb aimer, nose gunner, and 2 gunners. The rear gunner faced the highest danger due to his exposed position and separation from his parachute. Communication and reconnaissance. Equipped with radio transmitters and receivers, the wireless operator managed communications, often using deceptive signals to confuse the enemy. The rear gunner monitored for enemy fighters, guiding evasive maneuvers such as the corkscrew turn. Legacy post-war, Lancasters served in reconnaissance and survey roles before being replaced by the Avro Lincoln. Though most were retired by the 1950s, a handful remain in museums, with only 2 airworthy today, preserving the memory of this iconic aircraft.